Good afternoon, and welcome to the 2024 budget hearings for Franklin County, Ohio. The next agency we will hear from is the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion.
DEI office helps to ensure equitable actions are incorporated into our policies, practices, and procedures here at our Franklin County Board of Commissioner agencies. We do that through economic equity and focusing on our community.
Hi, my name is Michael Williams. I'm from the Family Stabilization Unit. I went to a few colleagues, and asked if there was a way or a platform that I would be able to express myself in a racial equity council was what I was pointed to. My experience has been amazing. I've had very, very intriguing, interesting conversations. I've got exposed to different cultures, different diverse individuals, different mentalities, different ideologies, and those things.
I'm owner of Mac Engineering Services. We manufacture and install LED and solar lights. We're currently opening a new factory down on Fifth Avenue. As a minority company, it's been very challenging to actually get into county or municipalities to work with them, but we've been successful with Franklin County with a small business group that they've been there for the money.
I'm Dave Armstrong. I've worked for Franklin County, the Child Support Enforcement Agency, as an account clerk for about 3 months now. I found the job originally through a job fair of the county's futures and found out information about it initially there, and then things progressed. Going to the job fair and finding out about the job and then applying for it and ultimately interviewing and getting the job has helped me in my career. I think
it's important that the Franklin County Board of Commissioners ensure that when people come to work, they feel seen, they feel heard, they feel included, and that we are providing equitable access to every contract opportunity within Franklin County.
Chief Withers, whenever you're ready.
Good afternoon, Commissioners and County Administration. Damika Withers, Chief Economic Equity and Inclusion Officer in the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. The video you just seen highlights areas of our division, providing a snapshot of what the DEI office has been up to in 2023. The impact of outreach and inclusion for small and emerging businesses, how we have been working to do our hiring and recruitment differently, as well as continuing with our third cohort of our Racial Equity Council. During our budget testimony today, you will hear more of these examples, opportunities for change, and where we plan to increase our efforts in 2024. I will now turn it over to Tamika Bumper to discuss small and emerging businesses.
Good afternoon, Commissioners and County Administration. Tamika Bumper, Economic Equity Administrator for the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. Each week during general session, you hear me report out on the small emerging business data. We continue to do this because we believe that transparency is not just for our residents, but it also serves as motivation to our staff. As of November 14, 2023, the Board of Commissioner agencies have spent $16 million on small emerging businesses, with 61% being awarded to women-owned businesses and 19% awarded to minority-owned businesses. This shows that we are off to a great start, but we are striving to do more. This year, we began to track invoices paid weekly, and although we're not currently reporting out on the findings for this, we look to do so in 2024 with the help of our data center and a newly hired data equity analyst. With this support, we will be able to take a deeper dive into the data we have collected and create a dashboard for display on our website. The dashboard will serve as a display for the work that the Board of Commissioner agencies are doing with achieving economic equity, as well as become a useful tool to help guide our internal agencies on achieving equity goals. Also this year, we have increased our outreach with small emerging businesses by 100%. We have increased our visibility by moving to in-person events and have increased our community partnerships with organizations such as the City of Columbus, MORPC, Ohio Department of Development's Minority Development Division, and the Minority Business Access Center. This year, we have reinstated our coffee and conversation events. We have held 2 conversations covering how to how to submit a successful bid to Franklin County and the importance of business certification. We have had great turnouts with an average of 30 participants at each event, with the feedback of participants wanting more. This year, we introduced our Small Emerging Business Mix and Mingles. This event was created with the intentions of introducing small emerging businesses to county representatives. We held 2 of these events this year and had an average of 40 attendees at each event. ODI has also been able to increase contracting and funding opportunities. As of today, we are projected to spend $2.1 million in grant funding to various businesses and organizations who support our goals of increasing economic equity. $1.1 million was given to organizations that support small businesses, such as the Columbus Fashion Alliance. Through our support, the Columbus Fashion Alliance served 422 youth and adults in ready-to-work and made-to-grow programs. These programs focus on retail readiness and entrepreneurship training. They were also able to hire 9 skilled contractors from their job development and future fashion internships. In support of our youth, we have given $850,000 to youth programs such as the Physicians Connections Group or the Made for Medicine program. This program targets Black students in grades 4 through 12 and core programming that will prepare students for a future career in medicine. Lastly, we gave $231,000 to Us Together for phase 1 of the Welcome City initiatives that will support our new Americans in areas of family stability, education, health equity, civic engagement, workforce development, and other identified areas of need. These partnership agreements supports goals number 1, 3, and 11 of the Rise Together Poverty Blueprint. Next, you'll hear from our fiscal officer, Talisha Williams, to discuss our community engagement.
Good afternoon, Commissioners and County Administration. Talisha Williams, Fiscal Officer for the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. Community engagement within Franklin County is crucial for our county's success. This is how we continue to build bridges within the many diverse communities Franklin County has to offer. Our goal is to make everyone feel included, and our community engagement solidifies our motto of every resident, every day. One of the Racial Equity Council recommendations is to tell our story. One of the ways this was done this year is by increasing our visibility in the community. This allows our residents to see firsthand how we welcome and embrace the similarities and differences of our residents. It provides the opportunity for our residents to interact and learn about the different cultures within our neighborhoods. Whether it's taking part in one of the many community walks, attending a gala or festival, or celebrating a specific group, it's a time for us all to join together and build a cohesive community. Franklin County and ODEI was able to sponsor some wonderful events this year that has a major impact not only within Franklin County, but also the United States. When you Google some of the events we sponsor, you'll find that our events are some of the largest attended within the Midwest. This puts Franklin County on the map as one of the most diverse and inclusive counties to live in. For example, the Stonewall Columbus Pride March is one of the largest, which had over 700,000 attendees. The African American Male Wellness Walk and Uplift Her event brings thousands of attendees each year and educates our community about the importance of regular health screenings. Tech Corp provides education to our high school youth of color to increase tech equity and awareness. These are just a few of the wonderful events that we sponsored this year. And with these sponsorships, we were able to work with number 4 and number 11 of our Rise Together Blueprint by providing employment opportunities to small vendors and education opportunities to our youth. As a whole, we were able to provide sponsorships in the amount of $189,000. We've missed some events this year that we'd like to make sure we participate in. We want to support every area and see how we can best serve these communities. Some cultures that weren't highlighted as much were the Asian, Latino, and Somali communities, along with other cultures. Lastly, in 2023, we were able to host our inaugural Discover, Engage, Ignite conference, which was attended by close to 300 attendees. The facilitators discussed very important topics that are relevant for today, And our vendor area was able to spotlight some small emerging businesses from around Franklin County. In 2024, our goal is to continue growing and enlightening our communities by sponsoring events, celebrating our uniqueness, and educating our neighbors. We will be planning our 2024 conference and will engage additional community partners as facilitators and learners and have increased visibility of other cultures and communities. And now we'll turn it over to our DEI Administrator, Perla Martinez.
Good afternoon, Commissioners and County Administration. Perla Martinez, DEI Administrator for the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. Commissioners, the Racial Equity Council, formed by representatives from several agencies across the Board of Commissioners who meet monthly and in person, was created to serve as an advisory board to assist in identifying areas in which Board of Commissioner agencies lead initiatives, activities, programs, and services through a diversity, equity, and inclusion lens as it relates to policies and practices. For example, this year, council members were able to participate in a potential training that will be offered through Ohio Health to give feedback on whether it would be suitable for our work culture. They were also able to expand upon the equity plan questions that were given to directors and agencies leadership at inclusive leadership circles to help support the creation of agencies' equity plans. They have participated in many National Diversity Council trainings as complimentary attendees, as well as volunteer in several community events we have supported, and are about to embark in different community service projects supporting efforts from county agencies and community partners alike to provide a myriad of services to our residents. However, while a key goal of the REC is to maintain the momentum behind existing and emerging racial equity work here at the Board of Commissioners, our efforts are not consistent across our organization. In 2023, we saw a lack of engagement and participation in DEI training topics as our organization has not yet developed a culture where DEI is encouraged, promoted, nor understood. This often leaves employees feeling uninformed, discouraged from participating, and not engaged in important topics such as those covered under DEI. We know this because this year's data showed us that even though we invested $26,000 in contracts with community partners to provide diversity, equity, and inclusion training topics, for an organization of over 1,400 employees, we had 345 registered and only 224 who ended up attending. However, our 2021 cultural climate audit showed us that 97% of staff respondents want to learn and be provided necessary training to not only promote diversity within their agencies, but help also deliver meaningful and impactful services to the residents of Franklin County, as we know it is ever changing and evolving. This is why, if we're looking to create a culture where DEI is sustainable, we consistently must be informed of and forming our culture around very important topics, such as implicit bias and pronouns and identities. We are continuously looking for quality versus quantity. In 2024, we will launch a new training curriculum where we will have initial mandatory trainings for all staff members, new and already withstanding. And we'll follow up with a learning and development process. In phase 1, we will speak on topics such as global fluency, identities and intersectionality, and racial equity foundations. And in phase 2, we will be able to build upon the knowledge acquired during the mandatory training and in phase 1. This training program strengthens the county's position that diversity, equity, and inclusion are integral to the successful delivery of high-quality, efficient services to our diverse residents and community partners. We will hold ourselves accountable to this commitment through continuous education around structural and systemic inequities and intentional incorporation of equity and inclusion in all policies, practices, and programs. Together, we will work towards eradicating discrimination and promoting diversity, respect, inclusion, and belonging, not only in our workplace, but through our entire community. And as we put focus on our learning and development process, we also can't forget about our work readiness and retention. Here to talk more about that is DEI Program Administrator Angelo Lala.
Good afternoon, Commissioners and County Administration. Angelo Lala, DEI Program Administrator for the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. In 2023, we were committed to fostering an environment conducive to job creation, employee development, equity, and accessibility. This was possible through shared collaboration of key stakeholders from across the county to develop a comprehensive work development strategy, County Futures. County Futures aligns with the 4 goals under the employment pillar of our Rise Together Poverty Blueprint. Here we understood the shared commitment of building a world-class workforce addressing persistent barriers that minority residents face in engagement with our employers as an essential element for this process. Therefore, the County Futures Initiative was designed to improve economic mobility among new hires and longstanding employees alike by linking them to short-term vocational training opportunities, DEI training, core professional development opportunities, job retention services, barrier removal, and job to career coaching. In 2023, we hosted 12 job fairs where 526 participants came to learn more about the employment opportunities with several of our Board of Commissioner agencies. Here we hired 60 applicants and successfully retained 32. Here the barriers of the participants were identified and provided us with the awareness and understanding of what the needs of our employees are, as well as the areas to focus on regarding retention and employee development. Looking ahead to 2024, the recruitment and retention efforts will feature a work readiness component. These with the goal of the racial equity core principle to infuse recruitment and retention efforts with DEI best practices while incorporating strategic recruitment tactics. The work readiness training will focus on instilling essential life and soft skills, creating a solid foundation to help those who are seeking to secure meaningful employment with Franklin County. By focusing on these skills, we can assist the residents with securing employment, providing them the means to be a valuable member of our organization and community. For those who are currently employed, we recognize both the ambitions they carry as well as the challenges that they may have. Through training, we will offer opportunities for skill development and career progression. For existing employees who want to advance their career, we will provide the tools and guidance for the opportunity to excel in their leadership positions. For those employees needing additional training, we are to ensure that they have the access to resources and training that will assist with on-the-job performance. We will continue to work with Creating Central Ohio Futures, as well as our internal partners, our agency directors, HR recruitment staff, the Men's Empowerment Network, and Employee Support Services to have targeted hiring events in the areas where we are lacking organizational representation and diversity of lived experiences, diversity of culture, and diversity of thought. As our culture climate audit showed us, we will continue focusing on hiring and retaining members of the LGBTQIA+ community, people with disabilities, veterans, refugees, and immigrants. I will now turn the presentation back over to our chief, D'Amica Withers.
In 2024, we will continue to participate on the NACO DEI network, which has led to representation on the newly created NACO Equity and Governance Task Force. The task force will focus on ways to have more equitable language, equity data, DEI policies, and legislation that address the continued attack on DEI efforts across our counties. In addition, Franklin County DEI is represented by my participation in the Equity Officer cohort with ICMA. We continue to meet with Franklin County DEI Hub, which includes non-board of commissioner offices, such as Franklin County Public Health, the Data Center, Franklin County Children's Services, Office of Ohio Public Defender, Franklin County Common Pleas Court, and many more, to help create a community of practice of DEI practitioners and support organizations that are committed to including DEI initiatives within their practices. In 2024, we will focus our efforts more on the advancement of DEI internally by updating our position descriptions and changing our position titles, in addition to increasing our communication with county leaders and partners. We identify the challenge we have had at communicating the actions and impact of the Office of DEI. With the increase of our budget, this will allow a public information officer position to create ongoing newsletters, manage social media, and assist with telling our organizational DEI story by quantifying our impact through data. Moving the DEI work internally has been a challenge with ingraining DEI practices, changing policies, as you have heard earlier in this presentation, engagement and training, and shifting our organizational mindset from strategic to integrated and ultimately disruptive. Board of Commissioner agency directors and their identified leadership staff participated in inclusive leadership circles in order to cultivate more leaders focused on creating inclusive, equitable, and socially just agencies, broaden and deepen skill sets, and create equity plans that fit the work of their county agency. We will continue to partner with our agency directors to assist in their creation and their final draft of our agency equity plans in the first quarter of 2024. We will also re-engage leaderships in inclusive leadership circles, which will focus on targeted areas to assist with retention and improve work environments, such as addressing supports around accessibility for seen and unseen disabilities. The budget increase will also allow more engagement of DEI training and accountability of attendance, as well as the second DEI conference and 3 civil rights tours. We are waiting on formal conference survey results, but have been informally provided several times that participants walked away encouraged to continue or incorporate DEI practices in their workplaces. Attendees felt comfortable engaging with others and learning about difficult topics. And they also enjoy learning about businesses and resources from our marketplace. Attendees from the Civil Rights Tour reported being grateful for the opportunity where history is taught and our present is informed on how to continually address the divide. Participants from the tour understood the need to learn and apply in service to our staff and residents, recognizing the historical aspects that remain an ongoing challenge in today's society. We live in a world where violence and hate are still seen far too often, and the tour cemented an even deeper understanding of what it means to stand up for what is right and what it truly means to serve every resident every day, regardless of who they are or where they come from. Participants reported the importance of an expanded worldview and having background on historic events of the civil rights movement provided them with more tolerance and awareness of the world around them. Though there are many things that make us different from one another, there are more things that make us alike. Participants came back and energized about the work we are doing here at Franklin County to make our work environment inclusive and reflective of the community we serve. The Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion would like to thank the Board of Commissioners, County Administrator Wilson, Deputy County Administrator Bivens, and Deputy County Administrator Long for your support of the DEI office in its 2 years of existence. We know there is a lot more work for us to do, and we are looking forward to advancing DEI practices in partnership with you and our agency directors. We welcome any questions you may have at this time.
Hey, Director. One, let me congratulate you for putting together this DE&I effort. We started this effort some years back, as you indicated, and you've definitely been a pioneer with us along the way, and I can see the improvements.
Thank you.
And quite frankly, it's our ability to hold ourselves accountable. You answered a lot of my questions. But one of the things I want to encourage you to do, and I know I've said this to you before, and I think you're thinking of it this way. I really enjoyed the conference that you put together. I think it was worthwhile. As many of you know, I'm also a business owner outside of politics, and as a minority business owner, particularly owning a bank. I know how hard it is for businesses to compete for business, but we just want the chance to compete. And that's what we're really talking about, is creating a level playing field for the access to the opportunity to perform. That being said, I love the conference that you put on. I think that was very helpful and useful and appropriate. But the one thing I want to just reemphasize is the ability to collect data. The data is really our catalyst to growth and our ability to really promote DE&I as not a trend that, Franklin County, along with other counties, are doing or corporations are doing, but a real value set and a commitment. And I think you clearly have the team together. And so now it's really a function of collecting the data so that we can make the case to grow and to invest more and to do more, and then to challenge all of our other large entities in Central Ohio to meet us in the middle of the road, to meet us where we are. And if we can't ask for their investment in diversity, equity, inclusion, if we're not leading the way. And so, one, I want to say, maybe have some resources dedicated to our data collection to show our work and to show that we can make the case. And two, maybe think about our external reach in the next phase of D&I to these other partners, to the Ohio State University, to Nationwide Children's Hospital, to Nationwide Insurance, to all of our, JP Chase Morgan. I know all of them have efforts going themselves, but to think about a collective convening to have a broader conversation to say that, look, here's our little piece, but if we bring these pieces together, what are we doing in Central Ohio to make it a great place to live, work, and raise a family, no matter who you are? And so I just want to really commend you for your work and your team. You all did an outstanding job. I love the work you're doing.
Thank you.
But two, just maybe add in a morsel of data collection at the highest level. And then two, maybe think about a broader convening, where we're highlighting businesses too that are doing our standard, awards and recognition for these corporations that are corporate citizens, but really value and understand what this investment means. And the county should recognize them as our partners, and we should be awarding them with, Corporate Citizen of the Year in DE&I space, or a most improved corporation, small business corporation, large business corporations doing this work. And we can't do all of that if we're not leading the way. And so, so that's my comments.
Absolutely, Commissioner. Thank you so much for the accolades and the comments that you offered. We have been focused on data. The board recently approved a consultant that we have been working with to take a deeper dive and an analysis of our internal data, what we have collected, where we can advance those measures. We are looking, even with that contract, to hire equity data analysts to be able to make sure that not only are we taking that deeper dive into what we are collecting, but we're also sharing that information and that we are then making data-driven decisions. Data is the name of the game next year as we work to kind of quantify what our impact has been, especially in the supplier diversity space. So I really appreciate that. In addition to, I know you have mentioned the awards before, and we have worked to create what that would look like. The importance this year was, before taking that step, was really be strategic about what we are doing internally. How can we ensure that our internal agencies are increasing their utilization of small and emerging businesses, increasing our outreach? What that also included was partnerships with WorkSee, with the City of Columbus, with the Minority Business Development Center. So I just had a meeting this week on Tuesday on understanding what that convening would look like, and also in partnership with the State Department of Development that are supporting minority businesses. Part of what we found out this year in talking to our suppliers and our small businesses is this lack of knowledge regarding how to engage these different entities that are supporting small businesses. So we all came to the table and to say, what are we doing alike? What are we doing different? And how do we educate our small and emerging businesses and our minority businesses that are out there, get them in the room and understand not only what we do, but what their needs are. So along with that data, we are ensuring that we are doing what's needed as opposed to what we think is correct. So I take that challenge on, and that is part of our goal for 2024.
Outstanding. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Great job, team. Good job.
Thank you so much, Commissioner.
If there are no other comments or questions, then that will conclude today's presentation from the Office of Diversity, Equity, Inclusion. Thank you very much. Commissioners, we will next hear from Public Facilities Management, though we will need to take a couple of minutes to get everything set up. So thanks for your patience.